All right, let's keep exploring these metaphysical questions. And the goal is for each of us as individuals to start drawing some conclusions about the nature of reality. Start figuring out what seems most reasonable to believe about reality and how it is constituted, what its nature is, based on what I know. All right? So we're going to start with, what do you believe? What do you believe exists? So when we talk about reality, what exists in it? One answer to that could be, well, only physical things exist, material things. Everything that has ever existed, everything that exists and everything that will exist is going to exist as a material thing, because all things that exist in reality are material things. There is no such thing as a non-material thing. If you take that position, we might call you a metaphysical monist. In other words, I believe that reality is constituted of one type of thing, physical things. There's no such thing as souls or spirits or minds. There's just brains. Of course, you could still be a metaphysical monist and have the exact opposite belief about what reality is constituted of. You could believe reality is all non-physical things. And we'll look at some philosophers who make this argument. And if we're in this school, we might say that, yes, it seems like things like this pen are physical things, but that's an illusion. We're plugged into some cosmic mind, some grand mind. And everything that we're experiencing, although it appears to be an experience of physical things that are subject to physical laws, it's all an illusion. Everything is constituted of mind. Everything is constituted of non-material things. Of course, you could also take the position that, hey, reality is constituted of both. It's not one or the other. There are physical things like pens, and then there are non-physical things like souls or minds or spirits or whatever. And if you take that position, then you're a metaphysical dualist. So that's the first thing you want to get clarified in your own mind. What seems more reasonable to you to believe about what reality is constituted of? Is it one thing or is it two things? Are you a monist or are you a dualist? And so when we ask this kind of question, we're really asking what are called ontological questions. This branch of metaphysics that looks at, well, what's most fundamentally real? What's not real? Okay? And so now let's think about one part of the thought primer you completed for this week. What's more real in your judgment? Your mind or your body? Because you have your physical body, you have a brain, but then some folks are going to say, well, not only do I have a brain, I also have a mind. And what I mean by that is I have some non-physical aspect of myself. Think about what Socrates said. I have some non-physical aspect of myself that interacts with my brain, interacts perhaps with my body. But it is not this physical thing. It is a non-physical thing. And somehow it interacts with my body. And it's this non-physical aspect of myself that contains what people would call my personality. It's this collection of ideas that I have. It's this ability to make decisions and cause my body to move in particular ways. This non-physical part of me makes decisions. Which part of you is more real? Your body or your mind? Think about this one. Einstein's brain or Einstein's ideas? What's more real? So Einstein's brain is sitting literally in a jar at MIT. You can go there and you can see it. It's real in the sense that you can pick it up and you could touch it and you could appeal to all your senses. I'm not going to go into the tasting thing because that's gross. But Einstein's brain is a physical object we can see. But of course, it doesn't seem to really capture the essence of Einstein, does it? I mean, it's just a lump of inert flesh, brain tissue, doing nothing. There's no electrical impulses going through it. It's completely inactive. So it came out of Einstein's body. But think about Einstein's ideas. Think about when Einstein had the ideas that you and I can access now. Think about when those ideas were occurring in that brain. What is more real? This inert lump of flesh? Or the ideas that Einstein created that continue to exist on today in the minds of others? Think about electrons, God. Which is more real? Think about a car and your idea of a car. Maybe think back to Socrates. What's more real? The idea of car or an actual car? And we could probably extend this out to questions like, well, what's more real? Something beautiful or the concept of beauty? The concept of beauty has existed in every human society that has ever been. It may exist in some non-human animal societies. I was reading something the other day about, I think, squirrels or horses or gorillas or something having a concept of beauty. So this concept of beauty has existed amongst groups of people literally everywhere who never had any contact with one another. But they all develop a concept of beauty. They may disagree about what that concept looks like when it manifests, when it's represented, but somehow they all stumble on this idea of beauty, where beauty is an idea that seems to be innately human. So what's more real? A beautiful thing, or this concept of beauty that seems to exist over time? And we might ask, just like Thrasymachus and Socrates debated, well, what's more real? A courthouse with judges and juries, or the concept of justice? We can come up with representations of justice, like the statue here, or a building that we associate with justice. But again, justice seems to be this idea that has existed in every single human society that's ever been. It's existed in very different forms, very primitive forms, very sophisticated forms, and of course, different people have different ideas about what justice is. But justice seems to be an idea that doesn't go away. Why doesn't it go away? How is it that justice doesn't seem to stop existing even when a particular group of people stop existing? All right, so now maybe another way you can think about this is this. Are you a materialist, an idealist, or a dualist? What that means is if you're a materialist, you're the type of person that believes only material things can exist and do exist. There is only one type of reality. So the answer to this question, can there be more than one type of reality? No. If you say no, you might be a materialist. Next question, is matter a fundamental type of reality? Material things, physical things. If you think that the reality is constituted entirely of physical things, then you might be a materialist. Is mind a fundamental type of reality? No, the materialist says. There's no such thing as a mind. When you say mind, what you really mean is brain. Okay? But if one of those responses is not your response, you may be either an idealist or a dualist. If you're an idealist, you're still a monist. There's not more than one type of reality. But reality doesn't consist of matter. It doesn't consist of physical things, not material things. It consists of mind. It consists of non-material things. And of course, if you're a dualist, you believe all of this is possible. Yes, of course there can be physical things. There are. And of course there can be non-material things or non-physical things. There are. All right? So you want to start thinking about where you get situated in this, because believe it or not, it actually matters. Okay? It may feel like we're going through this kind of stereotypical caricature of philosophy, that we sit back and think about stupid things that don't really matter. There's what some people would sort of derogatorily call mental masturbation. You're just doing all of this just to make yourself sound all fancy, but really what you're thinking about doesn't have any real consequence. But I'd argue it does. Because if you think about every other aspect of our lives that involves science or medicine and psychology, politics, art, anything, think of anything, it's all going to come down to what's real. Because our understanding of reality is essential to do any of these things effectively. So the kinds of questions that we're asking right now, yes, they're not directly consequential, but they're the building blocks for the rest of your understanding about reality, how you're situated in it, what it's like, and how to function effectively in it.